Welcome to another installment of WGS-TV right here on YouTube.com/WrestleGamerNZFXTV. I'm WWE Billy Boudreaux. This is going to be my Monday Night Raw review for the week of October 15th, 2012. We open up this week's Monday Night Raw with Big Show come out to cut a promo to build into his World Heavyweight title match with Sheamus, and then starts complaining and harping about everyone getting on him about, losing to Daniel Bryan in 45 seconds. The crowd, now I don't know if this is actually the crowd who started chanting it or maybe it was piped in, I don't know. But there was a chant of 45 seconds going on, and it was starting to piss off the Big Show. Then Big Show demands that Daniel Bryan come out and face him. Excuse me. To prove to everyone that he can beat Daniel Bryan in more than or less than, I guess, basically to get the monkey off his back, in a sense. And Daniel Bryan was backstage. At first, he was looking around at everybody and saying no, he wasn't going to go out there. And then AJ Lee comes out and says, well, yeah, you are, and you're going to face Big Show right now. Daniel Bryan starts saying no, and then everybody starts saying yes, and no, yes, no, yes. It's like an episode of When Harry Met Sally. I don't know what that was all about. But anyway, matchup-wise, it was still a good match. Both Big Show and Daniel Bryan looked really good in their match, and I kind of figured Big Show was going to go over, since he is being pushed for the World Heavyweight title match. You got to have your #1 contender go over in your opening match. So, but as soon as Big Show defeated Daniel Bryan, Kane comes out. He starts laughing at Daniel Bryan. Then Big Show gets his knockout punch ready. Kane loses a smile on his face and rushes to the aid of his tag team partner. And Big Show says, you know what, discretion is the better part of valor, and I will leave. And that's what Big Show did. I'm going to grade the whole opening segment and match. Going to give it a 4 out of 5. It was a very decent opening promo. Big Show has great mic skills. People don't give him that kind of benefit of the doubt. They don't really say that he's got good mic skills, but I disagree. I think he's got good mic skills. Great mic skills. Not as good as CM Punk or John Cena, but he's right there with them. He's got that experience when it comes to the mic skills. Next up, we had Paul Heyman introducing CM Punk. Apparently, on Twitter last night, Punk said he figured out who he was going to face, whether it be Ryback or John Cena. So Punk comes out and starts to talk about how the people treat him, out there and backstage. And he brings up a promo poster of Hell in a Cell, and it's CM Punk as a devil, and he says that's disrespectful to him. Then he wants to talk about two devils, one devil that he knew and one devil that he didn't know. The devil he didn't know was Ryback. He starts to talk a little bit about him. And then the devil he did know was John Cena. And then he starts to tease a little bit about who his pick was, because he actually had a picture there, and it was covered with a cloth. And he started to pick it up a little bit, and to me it almost looked like it was another Hell in a Cell promo poster. And, Punk said, got in the fans' case and saying, you know what, if you don't want to respect me, then guess what, I got all night. I can wait until the end of the show and think about my pick a little bit more. Vince McMahon comes out and says, this was your chance, you blew it, now the pick is in my hands. So we're going to find out at the end of the night, for the contract signing, who is it going to be? Will Vince McMahon pick John Cena, or will it be Ryback? 5 out of 5, because again, it's CM Punk on the microphone, always golden, and Vince McMahon, whenever he's on a Monday Night Raw, it's an epic moment, and this, by far, was no exception. Next up, we had Alberto Del Rio taking on Brodus Clay. Man, I gotta say this, Brodus Clay has fallen far from grace, I'll tell you that. Considering the fact that even though in a sense he jobbed to Alberto Del Rio, he still made it an interesting match. Del Rio being pushed in the storyline with Randy Orton, I kind of figured that he was going to be the one that was going to go over, since Brodus Clay is just doing absolutely nothing in the WWE at this moment, except just going around dancing with those hot girls. Yeah, I am lonely. 3.5 out of 5. The matchup was good, but I just wanted to hear Ricardo on commentary again. That's my only beef. Next up, we had a tag team match. Primetime Players taking on Team Kobroski, Santino Marella and Zack Ryder. It was an okay tag match. Primetime Players do get the win, but then we get Slater, McIntyre, and Jinder Mahal. They're all dressed in band gear, in a sense. Heath Slater looked like he was ripping off Lance Hoyt from the Rock and Rave Infection in TNA. And, you know, and they started a beatdown of Zack Ryder. And apparently they're calling themselves the 3MB, if I am not mistaken. Why? I don't know. 3 out of 5 on the tag match and the reveal of the 3MB. I really don't know what else to think about that. You know, Drew McIntyre. Oh Lord, Drew McIntyre can pass himself off as a band guy. Jinder Mahal cannot. I'm sorry, but Jinder Mahal is just not selling it for me. Heath Slater can do it. McIntyre can do it. Jinder Mahal, he can't. He can't. I agree with 2 of the 3 members of Encore. Jinder Mahal, no, I don't. Next up, Dolph Ziggler comes on and starts cutting a promo that he deserves to be in the WWE Championship match at Hell in a Cell, and said that he was going to win, and also he was going to cash in his Money in the Bank contract and win the World Heavyweight title on the very same night. So basically, in a sense, he wants to unify the titles. And David Otunga comes out, starts cutting a promo that, you know, he was going to do it. And then, you know, AJ Lee says, you know, they start complaining about Ryback, so why don't you face it? And I will say this, though. I kind of expected Ryback to go over on David Otunga. I did not expect him to go over on Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler is really a hot commodity in the WWE right now. David Otunga is just kind of flatlined mid-card at best. So I kind of figured, you know, have Ryback pin Otunga instead of having him pin Ziggler. I think if Ryback would have pinned Ziggler, that would have hurt Ziggler more than anything. With Otunga, like I said, Otunga is basically mid-card at best. Maybe lower mid-card, you know, because ever since John Laurinaitis left the WWE, Otunga has just basically done nothing. Nothing. You know, he's trying to pass himself off with the Harvard lawyer gimmick, but it is just not going anywhere. Stale at best. 3.5 out of 5 for Ryback taking on Dolph Ziggler and David Otunga. Kind of figured which way it was going to go. The promo will get a 4 out of 5 because Ziggler was always great on the microphone. Otunga, I still have my doubts about it. Backstage, CM Punk had asked Paul Heyman to talk to Vince McMahon, saying that CM Punk wants to challenge McMahon again with a special stipulation to the match that if CM Punk wins, he gets the right to choose his opponent. And Vince McMahon said that he would agree to it, but the opponent would not be CM Punk. It would be against Paul Heyman. And Heyman instantly backed out of the match. Next up, we have the United States Champion Antonio Cesaro taking on Justin Gabriel. Thank God the Rosetta Stone gimmick is gone. I don't need to hear Antonio Cesaro talking in 5 different languages. That's all I've got to say about that. Now, United States title match, well, it's not a title match, but this is basically upper mid-card match at best, and they were taking some really hard bumps in this match. I mean, there were a clothesline 360 connecting on Justin Gabriel, and I gotta figure Cesaro's hurt now because he took the 450 from Justin Gabriel. He normally does it well, but on this occasion, when he landed the 450, he landed on Cesaro's shoulder and ribs. Now, I'm not exactly sure what, you know, if he's... Well, I could tell he was injured. Because for one thing, he was continually holding his ribs. He was barely able to do the finisher. He was barely able to pick up Gabriel for his finisher. And, you know, he still won the match. But Cesaro was hurt. Cesaro's hurt. I'm not exactly sure what the extent of the injury, if there any. And when they showed it in slow motion, oh, Lord, it looked really bad. It looked bad for Cesaro, but you know, you just got to figure that Cesaro is out. He's going to be out for, I don't know, maybe a week or two, because, like I said, he took the 450 on his shoulder and his ribs. You know, I got to call this on Cesaro. Gabriel did the 450 perfectly. I think Cesaro was just not in the right position for it. I just don't think he was in the right place. So it was basically right time, wrong place for Cesaro. So 4 out of 5 on this one, because it was still a good match and a lot of hard bumps for an upper mid-card match at best. Now this next match, this next segment was set up, for those of you, Matt Striker was interviewing Kane and Daniel Bryan on SmackDown, and Daniel Bryan proceeds to put the no-lock on Matt Striker. Matt Striker gets injured, and Kane pulls him up from by his beard off of Matt Striker and pretends he's going to help Matt Striker, and then ends up chokeslamming him. Now Striker was talking with AJ and you know, trying to find a way to get an apology out of Kane and Daniel Bryan for what they did, and kind of mentioned the C word, and that's not the 4-letter version of the C word. You know, crazy, psycho, nuts, and that's what turned AJ Lee from hot into hot and scary, and put him in a match against Kane. Now, Matt Striker got on the microphone and said he did not want to face Kane. All he wanted is an apology. Kane's response was, "Let's hug it out." 1 hug, yeah. 2 hugs. The second hug turned into a bear hug and a choke slam. Kane wins the match. Kane then proceeds to kind of interview Matt Striker a la the way he did on Friday Night SmackDown, which I thought it was absolutely hilarious. They're actually, now I don't know if this is befitting to Kane's character and his gimmick, but they're kind of giving him a comedic element in a sense. And we're kind of seeing Kane's mic skills, you know, the entertaining side of his mic skills actually start to flourish as of late, because he was, without a shadow of a doubt, in my personal opinion, very entertaining on that microphone. I mean, yeah, I mean, I was on a Skype call last night and we were making references to The Undertaker. Would The Undertaker ever do something like this? No, Undertaker would never do something like this. Maybe with his American Badass gimmick he probably would have, but not with the Dead Man gimmick. It would not help the gimmick at all whatsoever. But Kane, so far, has been actually pretty entertaining on the microphone. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 on that, believe it or not. Next up, we had Miz TV with Kofi Kingston. This basically served 2 purposes. One was to put over their match for the main event this Wednesday night, which, you know, after what happened on Monday Night Raw, and I will discuss it, might be in jeopardy. And 2, to put over a non-title match that we're going to have later in the night. So, I'm just going to skip right over that and get to the next match, which was Sheamus and Wade Barrett. Excuse me. Drinking a little bit of Sprite here, sorry. But, you know, they had this return bout because of what happened last week. The match being thrown out. And this was a great match. But the predictable interference in the Big Show just kind of killed it for me. Content-wise, it was a great match. However, the finish, just too predictable for my taste. 3.5 out of 5. I had to go half a point lower. Now, it would have been, hell, it would have been a 4.5 out of 5 if it wasn't for the predictable run-in by the Big Show. But it was to serve the purpose of the build between those two for Hell in a Cell and the World Heavyweight title match. Eve Torres was defending her Divas title against Layla. Alright, well, the only thing I'll say about this match is the fact that, you know, we had another controversial finish. In the sense was Eve Torres had kicked Layla off the top rope, or the middle rope rather. She fell face first. Eve went for the pin. Layla put her foot on the rope. Referee didn't see it. Referee still counted the 3 count. This is a different referee than the one that pinned CM Punk's shoulders to the mat while his foot was on the bottom rope. And I just want to point that out. You know, so people don't say, "Oh, it's the same ref. It needs to be fired." No, it wasn't the same guy. So, anyway, I don't know where they're going to follow this up from here. All I'm going to say is 3.5 out of 5. You know, maybe we'll have a follow-up on Friday Night SmackDown. Who knows? Or maybe we'll have a follow-up match at Hell in a Cell. Who knows? Now, we were scheduled, because I talked about it on my preview yesterday, to have the finals of the tag team tournament to determine new #1 contenders for Team Hell No. But the news that broke apparently during the show, or to me it broke during the show because I hadn't heard it before, was that Rey Mysterio was out with the flu. You know, he was unable to compete. So instead of getting Team Rhodes Scholars versus Sin Cara and Rey Mysterio, we got Team Rhodes Scholars taking on Epico and Primo. The only highlight of this match that I saw, that I actually cared about, that Rosa Mendez was there. That's all I can say. I kind of knew Rhodes Scholars were going to get the win because Epico and Primo are basically a jobber tag team, but they're a jobber tag team but a really hot manager. 4 out of 5 just because I got to see Rosa Mendez dressed in blue jumping up and down. Next up, we had a non-title match, basically, in a sense, a main event preview for this Wednesday night, as we saw Kofi Kingston take on The Miz, and holy cow, this was a good match, but oh my god, to quote Joey Styles and myself, the ending, Kingston has shoved Miz onto the ropes. Miz is bouncing back, and he's turning around, and he turns right in to the Trouble in Paradise kick. Now, I don't think Miz was actually ready for the spot because he took the kick right on the bridge of his nose and head. And Miz just went down in a clump, and immediately when I saw that, I knew something was wrong. Something was wrong. And they kept showing the kick in slow motion. And in slow motion, it looked even more painful. You know, it was basically his foot made a sound like this, like that. And next, you know, we cut to Miz. The train. You know, you could tell something was immediately wrong because the trainer was right on top of the Miz because he saw something was wrong. Miz was in a heap. He looked badly hurt. He was bleeding from the head. One guy figured a concussion, and if it is a concussion, then the WWE main event match for the Intercontinental title is indeed in a lot of jeopardy. Because I don't think the WWE Medical would clear Miz in a short span of time to wrestle for the Intercontinental title with a concussion. 4 out of 5, because the matchup was still good, and the finish, I'm holding my head just based on what happened. And finally, we get the big reveal. Will it be CM Punk versus John Cena, or will it be CM Punk versus Ryback? And it kind of shocked me because I kind of thought that Vince McMahon would have went a triple threat route inside the Hell in a Cell for the WWE Championship. And what turned it around was John Cena's promo pushing Ryback. And this is what I get from that. This is what it tells me. It tells me that John Cena, even though it looks like he's 100% ready, he's not. You know, maybe he's still got to rehab the arm some more. I'm not sure. It looked okay out there, but again, there's a difference between looking and doing, and all we saw was looking. We didn't see, any much of doing, any kind of physical activity or anything like that involving the arm. So maybe, possibly, that Cena is not ready, and he's not fully recovered enough to go inside Hell in a Cell. Andy, our old friend Andy, he brought up something quite interesting on the Skype call last night during Monday Night Raw. was the fact that John Cena said in it himself that he promised that he wasn't going to be a special guest referee, he wasn't going to be a commentator, he wasn't going to be a timekeeper or anything like that. He was coming inside Hell in a Cell to fight, and tonight, or last night rather, he put over Ryback, and now it's official. CM Punk takes on Ryback, and just a little added flavor for the contract signing, since it is a typical WWE contract signing. Ryback attacks CM Punk and then gives him the shell shock, which causes the crowd to explode with the "Feed Me More" chants. So 4.5 out of 5. I would have given a perfect score, but the fact that Cena put over Ryback when they could have gone a triple threat route just kind of lost it a little bit for me. But it's still a good ending for Monday Night Raw. Overall score for Monday Night Raw this week gets a 4.5 out of 5 from me. Great match with Big Show and Daniel Bryan to start out the show. Del Rio, Brodus Clay, that was a little obvious. I think the whole thing with the players and Santino Marella was to put over the 3MB, who, by the way, decided that night to also go into a bar where they had a band performing, and they were trying to perform themselves, and they ended up getting thrown out, especially by a security guy with pink handcuffs. Yeah, that was a little strange for me. Dolph Ziggler and David Otunga taking on Ryback. Again, I figured Ryback would go over on Otunga, but not on Ziggler, because Ziggler, it would have hurt him more than Otunga, who, again, Otunga basically mid-card at best. Ziggler, upper tier guy. Antonio Cesario taking on Justin Gabriel. Cesario's got to be hurt. He's got to be hurt, and whether it be the ribs or the shoulder, he has to be hurt, because the way he took that 450 was just nasty. Kane is actually getting entertaining on the microphone. I'm actually enjoying what he does now. Sheamus and Wade Barrett, again, content, it was good. Ending sucked. Eve Torres and Layla, that's basically a 3-minute pee break as far as I'm concerned. Rhodes Scholars taking on Epico and Primo. Again, the only highlight to me was the appearance of Rosa Mendez. Kofi Kingston and The Miz, again, after Miz taking the kick right in his face, the way he did, he wasn't, because I gotta believe, honestly, 100% that he was not ready for the Trouble in Paradise spot. So you gotta figure, you know, if he's got a concussion, that the matchup for Wednesday night is seriously in jeopardy. And the ending with CM Punk, with the final announcement, CM Punk will take on Ryback, is a great ending to the Raw show. 4.5 out of 5. Now, I will be making a video. I'm thinking about making a video with the next day or so talking about Ryback and if he's ready for a main event and a pay-per-view. And I will be discussing it, hopefully, with the other guys on here, like Rick Starr, Ashley, Andy, Chris Rogers, Nick Bondage, if I can get him on here. So make sure you guys look for that. Now, I'm going to try to plan that, you know, ahead of time. I'm not saying definitely I'm going to do it, but I'm going to try to plan it. So I just want you guys to keep that in mind. So what I want to know from you guys out there, what did you think of Monday Night Raw this week? Be sure you put your comments in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and favorite this video. And please don't forget to subscribe to youtube.com/WrestleGamer and youtube.com/ZFXTV Network. So that being said, I'm Double B Billy Boudreaux saying thank you very much for watching.